Recently, there's been a lot of news about the current US administration imposing or threatening to impose tariffs on several countries, including Canada. With headlines warning of trade wars and escalating tensions, it's no wonder people are wondering how Canada or any other country should respond. In this video, we'll explore why retaliatory tariffs do more harm than good, and what a smarter approach could look like. So, what should a country do in response to tariffs? The short answer is nothing. The longer answer is a bit more nuanced. First, what are tariffs exactly? A tariff is just a tax on imported goods and services. So, when Trump says he's imposing a 25% tariff, what he's really saying is, I'm going to tax Americans for buying Canadian products. This makes goods more expensive for US consumers while simultaneously reducing demand for Canadian exports, hurting everyone in both economies. For example, if an American wants to buy Canadian maple syrup, the tariff jacks up the price by 25%. That buyer might choose a domestic alternative or skip the purchase altogether. What's the result? Well, less demand for Canadian products, job losses, and unnecessary economic damage. America loses, Canada loses, everybody loses. It's a lose-lose situation. It always has been, it always will be. It was lose-lose when trade began, and it will stay lose-lose until the end of time. The thing about tariffs and trade wars is that they're a race to the bottom, a spiral to destruction, and if Canada responds with tariffs of its own, it only fuels the cycle of economic harm. No matter how politicians try to sugarcoat it, that's the reality. So what should Canada do instead? Well, the answer is embrace unilateral free trade. Unilateral free trade is when a country eliminates its own trade barriers, regardless of what other countries do. That means no retaliatory tariffs that only hurt their own businesses and consumers. No protectionist nonsense. Just open markets, free exchange, and economic growth. Now, this isn't about giving in. It's about standing firm on economic principles that actually work. Now, clearly, bilateral free trade, where both sides remove trade barriers, is the ideal and should always be the goal of our diplomatic efforts. But if we can't get there, which may be the case right now, the next best option is unilateral free trade. Why? Well, because unilateral free trade is far less destructive than counter-tariffs. While tariffs create a vicious cycle of escalating economic damage, free trade, whether reciprocated or not, keeps goods affordable, supports businesses that rely on imports, and makes the economy more competitive. Retaliatory tariffs may feel like fighting back, but in reality, they only punish Canadian consumers and industries. What's the smart move then? Well, play the long game. Keep trade free and let protectionist countries suffer the consequences of their own bad policies. But free trade alone isn't enough. Canada should also deregulate and free its economy to offset the negative effects of tariffs. If foreign markets become harder to access due to protectionism, the least Canada can do is ensure its own economy is as free, competitive, and prosperous as possible. So what's the bottom line here? Let's not play the tariff game. Let's break the cycle. If other countries want to sabotage themselves with protectionism, let them. Canada should take the high road and prove once and for all that free trade, free markets, and free people are the real path to prosperity. What do you think? Is Canada's approach to trade heading in the right direction? Let me know in the comments. See you in the next video.